Just looking at the CRUD operations for this school database we've been working on. This is a version of where I'm up to at the moment. You'll see I've got the usual list of students. I've also got these delete buttons, and I've also got an update button, and I've got add a student and also assessments, but we're not going to look at those right now. Let's just quickly go through the functionality. I'm going to add a student into it. So student 1111, yep. Oops. Yep, that'll do. So click the add button. That student has been updated and I'm redirected back to the main page, and there they are. Let's quickly delete them. Do I want to delete the student? Yes, I do. And I'm redirected back to the main page. And let's update someone. Let's update Gary Shen. I'm going to put him into TSMH, into my tutor group. Update. Student Kevin Shen updated, and I'm back to here. So that's the kind of functionality that we want to be able to do. Let's look at the files we've got. So I've got same ones that you're familiar with: index.php, dbconfig, which we won't be touching, class.crud, which does all the work, and then I've got student add, student delete, student update. We've just seen what those forms look like on the front end. We'll have a look at the back end in a minute. I've got a footer and a header as well, because as I was adding more and more of these, it became more and more annoying to have to copy and paste footer and header information each time. In fact, let's just have a quick look at what they're like. So header is all of this usual head stuff, and I've also kept the navigation bar the same in all of them. And footer is just basically the JavaScript for Bootstrap and just tidies up all of the tags that need tidying up. Let's have a quick look at index.php. And those are the drop downs for the house and gender. I just use those to pre-select. If you've already selected one of the houses, it actually pre-selects that in the next page on the filter. And kind of the same with these as well. And basically the only thing of any significant interest here is we call data view students and the CRUD students in class.crud with a house, gender and sort that we want it to do. Apart from that, it's just include the header, include the footer, and do all the display stuff. And good time to look at class.crud. Class.crud, I've got the data view students. This is all that filter stuff. Again, not looking at that right now. I've got these two TDs for this one is the delete and this one is the update, and you can see how they generate the update.php link with the correct student ID being passed to that page each time. Delete.php student ID, and not much else. Data view students, we've seen that many times. That's for the main page. And then I've got create a student. So given all of these fields, it inserts them into the database. No surprises there. This student for update, this is slightly different from the other ones. You see how all these other ones, they get the row and then they do something with that row. I'm just passing this one back. I get the row having done this query and then pass it back to the whichever function called it, which can then do something with it. We'll see the other end of that in a minute. Then I've got update student, which runs an update query, no surprises. Delete student runs a delete query, and did I say insert? Create student runs an insert query. Right, so let's look at a little bit more at the front end of those. So let's start with student add. Student add, if I've clicked the button new student, which is this one in the form, obviously then I've submitted the form, it goes and gets all the values from the form and runs that query, CRUD student create, and does a redirect. I've copied and pasted this line quite a lot as well, which just redirects me back to the main page after 2000 milliseconds, that's 2 seconds. And then I've got a form, which is just fill in the details and submit it. Now then I updated this one to do the student update one. So this I took this and made it more complicated. So this one, when the form is created in the first place, it actually goes and gets the student the student details. So it does a student for update, looks at what the value is being passed, the student ID. Then it runs that query, and this is that row that I was talking about that's being passed back, and then I'm looking at each row identity here. I think this is neater than the data view student's way of doing it. It keeps the kind of front-end stuff in this front-end display page and keeps the database stuff in the back end. I think that's a better way to do it. If I was doing it again, I'd do that for data view students as well. And yeah, so it just fills out all of the values that have already been selected. You can have a look at this in your own time. Then when the button is clicked, it gets those data and it just runs an update query. Or when I say gets that data from the form, and it runs an update query and then redirects me back to the main page again. And don't think there's a huge amount else to look at. Delete student we've already done. And this is the one where it's a little bit of a complicated flow because we've got the confirmation message and then it sends it back. But you'll notice again, include footer.php, include header.php. Did we look at these yet? Header, I've just put all of this stuff that we use every time in there, and footer, those which we use every time. So that's a quick tour of the whole kind of working CRUD arrangement, and see how far you can get with the same.